You're watching ABC10 Plus Tonight.
Good evening, I'm Chris Thomas. You're watching ABC10 Tonight. Sacramento police announced their first homicide arrest in a fentanyl overdose case after a woman died in 2023. Then a Davis family targeted for a second time after someone snatched down a flag from their home again. Police investigated as a hate crime. Plus, we introduce you to the October Teacher of the Month. ABC10 Tonight starts now.
Tonight, we start with new details about the placement of a sexually violent predator in California. A new state audit is showing inconsistencies in the state-funded program for rehabilitating and housing convicted felons. So ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen joins us live with all the details tonight about this long-awaited state audit.
Well, Alex, the good news is the state auditor did find that the company contracted to rehabilitate sexually violent predators is actually doing its work. The bad news, there's not a clear way to track the work, and the cost just continues to increase by the millions as years go on.
I think we've got some justification for many of the concerns that we've been raising for 6 years on this CONREP program.
Senator Brian Jones has been openly critical of the conditional release program of sexually violent predators. He requested an audit more than a year ago on the Department of State Hospitals and Liberty Healthcare, and on Tuesday, the state auditor released this 52-page report.
This is a public safety issue.
The audit found DSH took an average of 17 months to find proper housing for a conditionally released SVP when state law generally allows for 30 days. But it acknowledged difficulties in finding housing because of negative community reaction.
The report also points out that the state is paying Liberty Healthcare $2,800 a month to find that housing.
The report found the state's spending on the program increased nearly 75%. From 2018 to 2019, the state spent $6.6 million, but the program costs went up in 2022 to 2023 to $11.5 million. More SVPs are being rehabilitated, and other reasons include the rising cost of housing and private security services.
This program specifically, of course, the costs are going to go up because there's no oversight.
Jones points to the audit finding DSH does not have an effective way to track and monitor Liberty Healthcare when implementing policies and procedures. Some of those policies are also out of date, citing Liberty's contraband policy hadn't been updated since 2011. In terms of its effectiveness, the report says 56 people have been in the program since its start in 2003, with 4% of them reoffending.
That's 4% too many, as I've been arguing. These SVPs should never be allowed out of prison.
The auditor recommended DSH to establish state-owned transitional housing, a model that other states like Washington and Texas have implemented. But in response, DSH says it disagrees with that recommendation, believing it wouldn't speed up the process of finding secure housing and would be a target for community protests.
That's a preposterous argument, because right now the way the system works is as soon as a house is proposed, it's in the public and the neighborhood knows about it.
However, DSH agreed to conduct more reviews of Liberty Healthcare, develop a tracking process, and save money by conducting some activities internally.
Now, Jeannie, on top of the responses to the audit's recommendations, I do want to note that the Department of State Hospitals did provide you with an additional response, right?
Alex, the DSH acknowledged the report and says it's doing what it can to comply to the recommendations. Now, overall, the DSH says it will maintain oversight and supervision of Liberty Healthcare and is actively involved in reviewing proposed housing options for those looking to be released. Now, Senator Brian Jones also tells me he'll be working on some additional legislation to ensure the state abides by these findings. And we also reached out to the ACLU, who has openly supported this program, but they have yet to provide ABC 10 with a comment in response to this audit.
Jeannie, thank you so much. And if you would like to read more about the audit, we do have that link on our website, abc10.com. You can go there right now.
Turning now to the fentanyl crisis, the Sacramento Police Department announced their first homicide arrest in a fentanyl overdose case today.
ABC 10's Devin Truby joins us now. And Devin, you talked with the district attorney about this and other cases. What did he have to say?
I did, Laura. And while this is the first for the Sacramento Police Department, the Sacramento District Attorney's Office says since 2022, they've been pursuing 7 murder cases for dealing fentanyl.
The Sacramento Police Department has made their first homicide arrest in a fentanyl overdose case. The Sacramento County District Attorney's Office will handle the prosecution.
Last year, we had over 400 people in Sacramento County die from fentanyl poisoning. That's more than all the gun-related homicides that we've had in Sacramento County in the last 10 years.
32-year-old Bianca Bewley died of a fentanyl overdose in her home on the 5900 block of 34th Avenue in December of 2023. 27-year-old Kyle Firebaugh has been arraigned on charges for homicide and felony narcotics. Sacramento police say Firebaugh admitted to talking with the victim, supplying narcotics, and purchasing fentanyl.
Back in May, my office started what we call the SAC Force, which is essentially a task force that investigates fentanyl poisoning and going after the drug dealers for murder charges.
This case is just one of many murder and homicide cases being made against fentanyl dealers in multiple Northern California counties. Placer County has charged and alleged 5 dealers with murder, totaling 3 convictions so far. The most recent in Placer County, the first fentanyl jury trial in the region.
We are going to go after you, and we are going to hold you accountable to the fullest extent of the law.
Sacramento County has 2 upcoming fentanyl murder trials, one in November, the other set to begin in January. District Attorney Ho says since he took office in 2022, they are pursuing a total of 7 fentanyl dealers on murder charges.
Kyle Firebaugh has already been arraigned on the homicide charges. His next court appearance is set for October 28th. We'll keep you updated, Laura.
A Davis couple is being victimized again after a man snatched down their pride flag and drove off.
Davis police confirmed it's the second time this year someone has stolen a flag from the couple's front yard, and both incidents are being considered a hate crime. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias has the details.
The many flags displayed in front of Suzanne Crego-Snyder's home hold special meaning to her and her family.
We feel that everybody has a right to, peacefully exist, and that we should all coexist peacefully. And so it's just an all-inclusivity. This particular flag has to do with gay, transgender, etc.
On Saturday, that peace was disturbed.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
When their Ring camera caught a man tearing down their pride flag around 8 at night.
My thoughts are that it's really disgusting.
The family reported it to the Davis Police Department the next day.
An individual had arrived in a white SUV as a passenger, gotten out on the 1100 block of L Street, and removed a pride flag that was affixed to a home there. Got into the SUV and left.
Police say it appears the man has light-colored hair and was wearing gray shorts, a black hoodie, and face mask. The grandmother says the saddest part of the situation is they've been targeted before. Back in April, we shared this surveillance video of a man with a knife physically cutting down their Israeli flag.
We put that up after October 7th. And it's very personal because I'm the daughter and the granddaughter of Holocaust victims who did make it out alive, but nonetheless, they're survivors. So it's very personal. I also feel very bad about what's happening to people in Gaza.
Davis police are investigating both incidents as hate crimes.
As a department, we stand behind all victims of hate crime, regardless of their background. We're going to investigate this to as far as we can, and hopefully able to identify this person.
Crego-Snyder says she feels threatened someone was so close to her home, and she wants her flags left alone.
The thing is, at this point, it wasn't particularly dangerous, but you never know when things are going to escalate. So I'd like the person to be found. So if you know him, please, or the getaway car driver, I'd appreciate it if you did tell the Davis police.
In Davis, Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
Roxanne, thank you. The family has replaced both of their stolen flags with new ones. Well, here at home, let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods now. We're tracking a lot of changes happening this week.
Including several weather impact alert days, right, Monica?
Right. This is the time of year where winds can be particularly dangerous. So we're continuing to monitor that on the back edge of a weather system that tomorrow will actually bring us a chance for showers throughout the valley and the Sierra. Then we get the increasing winds and the elevated fire weather concerns. We'll initially start off with this wind advisory starting off on Thursday, and then we elevate that throughout the entire region to a red flag warning. That will continue through Saturday. So this is going to be a longer duration event where we're tracking some pretty problematic winds, especially throughout the valley and towards the coast. As far as those future wind gusts, you can see how they really start to accelerate during the day on Thursday, post-frontal system passing through. We'll take a look at that precipitation in just a moment. First, I want to just showcase those winds because this truly is going to be the bigger impact that we're dealing with. We'll start to see those winds picking up Thursday Thursday evening, but really getting going on Friday morning. It's going to be rocking and rolling for that morning commute with wind gusts over 30 to 35 miles per hour in parts of the valley. This is the day when we may see more wide-scale power shutoffs by PG&E. Our future gusts on our Friday evening start to back off ever so slightly, but it's not until Saturday afternoon that we really start to see those winds calming down once the dynamics of the setup across the west start to relax a bit. Now let's talk about that precipitation. Satellite and radar already showing that band of rain popping up across the Pacific that is going to move our way tomorrow. It's going to take some time to get here, and it's really hard to get through that dry air that's been sitting over us. Right now in the Big Mountain backyard, we still have sunny skies. Our temperatures in the 80s, 67 for Tahoe. Our sunset is at 6:27. And if you've been one of the lucky ones to look in the western sky, about 30 minutes after sunset, you can see that comet just kind of racing through our nighttime sky. Thanks to Corey, our own co-worker here, for letting us have that photo there taken in Davis. Here's a look at the total rainfall, about 1/10 of an inch or so by the time we get to Thursday, mainly for the foothills and the Sierra. But some of the eastern sides of our valley have the chance of seeing some measurable rain. About 1 inch of snow possible Thursday into early Friday, with our snow level coming down to about the pass level once that colder air works in. So you can see that line of rain trying to make its way through the valley during the morning commute. And then we see that chance of rain lingering into the afternoon. Slight chance of thunderstorms as well. Once that low starts to drive its way southward, that's when we get that opportunity for snow on Thursday evening as it positions itself in the desert southwest, high pressure building in. That's when we have those winds really accelerating through the valley and the most dangerous fire conditions. One to watch for sure. Highs only in the 50s tomorrow for the Sierra, 70s for the foothills. We're in the 60s along the coast, 70s, low 80s for our forecast for tomorrow. So we're really starting to see that change in our weather conditions as we move through the next couple of days. We'll be tracking it all with those weather impact alert days late Thursday through Saturday. Again, wind, the biggest issue here in this 10-day forecast.
That really is good to keep in mind, Monica. October really being that transition month. We've seen just about every kind of weather so far.
Certainly have, yep.
Okay, Monica, thank you.
You bet.
With each cup, bottle, and bag,
I normally add the beer and then just top it off with some more of the mix.
Jesse Hernandez and Genesis Soto don't just produce pre-packaged micheladas, chamoy candies, and margarita mixes.
This is the last thing we came out with was our gummies.
But also souvenirs of culture.
That just reminds you of home, of Mexico.
A reminder that started here at South Stockton's Fiesta Mexicana restaurant.
My mom and dad, they came from Mexico and they came to this country and they worked in the fields. My mom seen that the restaurant was, there was an opportunity to start a business. My mom was like, hey, let's go with it. Let's get the restaurant and we'll see how it goes.
34 years later, it's still going, but not without help from one entrepreneurial-minded employee.
I was 15 years old making over $150 in tips.
Eventually, after graduating from Edison High School, Jesse left the States to chase a goal, literally, playing soccer in Mexico.
Paid professionally, came back and I wasn't doing nothing for myself. So my mom bought a little vitrina. She told me, hey, what about if you start selling fruit? So I was like, you know what, that's kind of embarrassing.
Until he had a dream.
Somebody in my dream was like, hey dude, what about if somebody just made something that's convenient, anybody can make? So this is where the magic would happen, when we first started.
A simple pot that could make around 55 bottles of the lime, salt, and chili beer mix, just a few steps away from the first shelves that they would fly off of.
There was lines of people. I remember 15 to 20 people waiting in line to go get our famous michelada cups with ceviche. It was a great feeling. Musicians and stuff that would come and play their Mexican music and stuff, and it was just a party.
After nearly 2 years of weekend sales with the help of his then-girlfriend, Genesis,
He was making more every week, that it was just getting out of control.
It was time to step up the game by mass production. But with no investors, it was up to Jesse to get his product on store shelves.
I was in there not even selling a product. I was selling myself. So I would run him like, hey boss, please, I'm from Stockton, give me an opportunity.
A sales pitch that worked, landing his michelada cups in hundreds of local stores.
What made us strong in the beginning was all the mom and pop stores that believed in us.
Hundreds turned into thousands, though.
Food for Less, Save Mart, Food Max, grocery outlet, Cost Less.
And now?
Our products have been into Atlanta, Arkansas, Washington. We're going to Oregon, and Utah.
Even as the reach grows, Jesse and Genesis don't forget their roots.
There's a screw right here that my brother actually screwed in, and we would put them in here. That way the tents wouldn't move.
Cemented literally in South Stockton.
I remember sometimes going to sleep, you hear gunshots, and it's like a normal. People getting broken into cars, people getting murdered. Genesis and myself, having no money, and we would come drive up here to Murata, and we would drive around all these beautiful homes. And we would say, one day we're gonna buy a house here, and we finally, 2 years ago, were able to purchase a home here. So I get a little bit emotional because, definitely it's a dream come true. So make sure you guys find your product at a store near you. We appreciate you guys.
In Stockton, Gabriel Porras, ABC10.
It's a hidden gem in South Sacramento. We're talking about the Sojourner Truth African Heritage Museum.
The museum has been serving the community for years, and as ABC 10's Candace Red explains, the future of the museum is now uncertain because of a lack of grant funding.
Today, we're putting a spotlight on the Sojourner Truth African Heritage Museum. If you're not familiar with the museum, it sits inside of the Florence Square Shopping Center in South Sacramento. Shona McDaniels founded the museum in 1996. The mission is to change lives through the exploration and celebration of African American history. The museum has several exhibits that share Black stories and experiences. The museum also has programs designed for uplifting the community, like the Youth Docent Program. Well, it encourages entrepreneurship and skills needed to succeed in business. The museum is a nonprofit organization that relies heavily on grants to stay open and operate all services. Well, William McDaniels is the board president at the museum, and he told us the museum did not get any grant funding last year, like from the government, companies, or other groups. And now, sadly, the museum is at a very high risk of closing.
80% of our funding had came from grants. And so we're really trying to shift from that and not so much rely on grants because we haven't been getting any. So we've been shifting really to like fundraising. And so one of our fundraisers that we really rely on is the Banana Festival in August.
The museum already made tough decisions like cutting some jobs and employee hours. If the museum ends up closing, Sacramento will no longer have a museum strictly dedicated to Black history or a museum owned and operated by a Black woman in our region. Now, we're told it costs about $20,000 a month to operate the museum, considering rent, payroll, and other expenses. The museum started a fundraiser by creating a GoFundMe page last month. The goal is to reach at least $100,000 in funds. But so far, the museum has only raised a little over $2,000 in funds. If you're interested in helping to save the museum, we have all the information on our website. That's abc10.com. In South Sacramento, Candace Red, ABC 10.
Time to talk about our Teacher of the Month.
And for October, we are highlighting Monica Peterson and Harold, who was nominated by her very own students.
ABC 10's Marquez Allen has taken the ride into Harold and has a great story about our Teacher of the Month and her fans. Mark.
And her town. I love this town of Harold. Discovered it a couple weeks ago when I discovered this great teacher. One of the last great one intersection towns in California. Galt's just a little bit that way. Harold is where you're going to find Arcoe School. That's Arnold, Colony, and Harold colliding. Like I said, I've never met a Monica I didn't like. Meet this Monica. Oh, hey, you're just in time. What happens when Arno, Colony, and Harold come together? It's Arcoe School. You got a Teacher of the Month. Let's get to know her. It's Monica Peterson, the Teacher of the Month.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm a little distracted over your shoulder. It says all this about leaders, and that's what you're all about.
Yes, yeah. So I'm the leadership teacher here at Arcoe, and I try to make sure that when my students come in the classroom, they take ownership of their own learning and of the campus here at school.
Mrs. Peterson is amazing. She's a true asset to Arcoe. She truly encompasses what it means to be an Arcoe Falcon through her words, through her character.
Like one of the first times students have nominated the teachers. So Tara, Risa, why is she a great teacher?
She always does everything for the school. She makes sure that we're having fun in her class and she's having fun.
Tara, what's the best thing about her?
She gives us food.
The Teacher of the Month for October is your teacher, Monica Peterson. Come on down. Right on. All right, with that comes great responsibility, or at least a big check. Should we give her some money? All right, look over there for a major announcement.
On behalf of Schools First Federal Credit Union, I am proud to present Miss Peterson, our October 2024 Teacher of the Month, with a commemorative plaque and a check for $1,000 for all the amazing things she has done.
Congratulations, Miss Peterson!
And the crowd goes wild for Monica Peterson, amazing Teacher of the Month. And Stingers up, Sac State grad, way to go. If you know a great teacher, let us know about them. We'd love to give them $1,000 in a fancy plaque. ABC10.com/Teacher of the Month is the way you do it.
Thanks for watching ABC 10 Tonight. We're here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 Plus app. You can get your news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Chris Thomas. Thanks for watching again, and we'll see you next time.
I'm ABC 10's Chris Thomas.
And I'm Telemundo's Miriam Villarreal.
Sacramento voters will be making a big decision this November.
They will be choosing the city's next mayor. We're taking the biggest issues and your questions to both candidates.
I want you to talk about whether or not you support clearing homeless encampments. To be clear, you have 30 seconds.
Watch Sacramento's Future, the candidates for mayor, Thursday night at 6 p.m. Also streaming live on ABC 10 Plus.